Okay, it's Monday's Talking Reds. I'm Gareth Robertson. This is Simba from The Lion King.
No.
Craig's just revealed that until when he was 4 years old, he insisted that people refer to him as Simba.
You say people like it was just my mum. The Lion King had come out. I can't believe it. My mum watches this. Hold on, Sam's just admitted.
No.
when he was a kid,
Sam wanted to be a butler when he grew up.
and he would only answer to the name Jeeves.
We should get a little bell in the office, shouldn't we? I mean, we've already got one, but
Yeah, we haven't done any of these yet.
It is Daniel Sturridge Monday, and we are talking about the draw at Chelsea, which, let's be honest, felt like a win, didn't it? It was one of those games where you just thought, it's not going to happen for us today. We carved out loads of decent opportunities. We carved out 3, what the football statisticians call big chances. Shaqiri should score. Firmino has one off the line. Mo has one off the line, doesn't he, as well? And it did feel one of those days. And then up pops Daniel Sturridge. I heard you say this before. I heard loads of people say this over the weekend that, as he's raising his foot, basically there's thousands of Reds all over the world going, "Don't shoot!" Then it just goes, "Oh."
It's the most don't shoot goal I think I've ever seen, because even the way he shapes up, I know he had a similar effort in the League Cup where he hits the bar. And it's almost exactly the same, isn't it? But even still, I was looking at it, and if you showed me that and then you said he scores from there, I wouldn't believe it, because I just don't know how he does it. And that's the world's most expensive keeper as well, and he just gets it right in the top. Absolute scenes, and made up for him as well. There's three goals in the space of a week, pretty much, for him, I'm loving this little renaissance of Daniel Sturridge, whereby I loved him with all my heart, and then he leaves and goes to West Brom, and I told myself I was over him, and I'd grown beyond Daniel Sturridge, and then he sort of reined me back in over pre-season with some of his performances, and then he's scoring goals, and what a goal. How many times have you watched it?
Loads.
I think probably about 49. 49 times probably, and yeah, I won't get sick of watching it.
It doesn't get old. Doesn't get old. Sturridge has only started 2 games this season. His other 5 appearances have come from the bench. Obviously scored in the League Cup game against Chelsea in midweek. That was the first time he played in a full match in more than 12 months. It's also his 50th goal for Liverpool, and he's now Liverpool's joint leading goal scorer this season, alongside Mane with 4. Another thing that emerged from the Chelsea game was obviously Salah gets the hook, and when a player like that, who scores as many goals as he did last season, gets the hook, inevitably people say why and talk about it, and we're getting into this territory of him being a problem type stuff from some pundits to teams. He scored 3 goals this season and assisted 1 in 7 Premier League games. He scored only 3 in 9 in total as well, compared to 6 at the same stage last season. I mean, there are stats that show that basically, there is a little bit of a drop off here in terms of shot conversion rate, which has dropped from 22% then to sort of 10% now. But I don't know, I'm still not particularly concerned about it. I mean, we're joint top of the league. We're only second because of goal difference. Maybe if Mo had scored a few, we wouldn't have that. But I don't know. I mean, both what the manager's saying, what his teammates are saying, I just still think he's going to be fine.
He's going to be, everything is going to be fine with Mo Salah. I think, if you compare this season and last season, I think last season at this stage, he scored 1 more goal. And it's the fact that he's getting into these positions, like the one where he has it off the line. I think it's Rudiger gets it off the line from him. He gets himself into that position through his pace and gets in front of him, gets around the keeper. It'll come for him. I'm not worried. I think that the wider media will always try and create problems or pick little holes in such a positive story. There's so many positives with Liverpool right now that worrying about Mo Salah. I'm just not, because especially when we can look to our bench and they can come off the bench and do things like that for us. I think that's a massive positive. And in years gone by, I remember what it used to be with Fernando Torres was injured. Liverpool were affected by that. because there was no goals, because they were blunt up front. But we've got so many other
in GOG.
yeah. But we've got so many other players for the opposition to worry about. And you know, if they deal with them, then we'll just bring on Daniel Sturridge and he'll score a belter from 30 yards, or we'll bring on Shaqiri and he'll be getting in the right places. And yeah, look, I'm not going to worry about Mo Salah. He'll be absolutely fine.
I think the one that seemed to annoy Klopp a little bit, I've seen his post-match interview, and he was sort of saying the one where he tries to put it through to Firmino, and he's basically like, you've created an opportunity there to shoot, so shoot. And you know, I guess if we're talking about confidence and levels and all that, that's the one that looks like it was a couple of alarm bells for the manager, and maybe contributed to why he decided to take him off. I mean, Van Dijk's talked about him since the game. He says, we're 7 games in, Mo's working hard, he's still the same Mo, and he just needs a bit of luck. I'm not worried at all. He should not be worried either. We all do it together, and we'll always be there for him, and he'll deliver. He had a tough game against Chelsea, but that's part of football. When Klopp was asked about it, he said, do you think the player's happy with himself right now? Klopp said, of course not. How could he be? But it's a normal situation, and that's what you have a manager for. We'll talk about it. It's easy for me because I don't read what you write. Maybe the boys do a bit more, but that doesn't make too much sense at the moment, because you will all dissect the issue, a nice big cut, but you will find pretty much nothing. That's how it is, no problem whatsoever, it's all fine. So I think we just have to sort of take that as read and carry on. I mean, you know, we've got a load more games. We've got Napoli midweek, we've got City next weekend, so we just crack on. It's one of them, isn't it?
It just wouldn't surprise me if he just puts one top bin against City next week, and then just nobody's talking about this anymore. It's just I think if he scores in this next game, he's got 1 and 2 pretty much for the season. It's just you know, I just think that the media will try and, you know, pick little holes in the narrative of Liverpool's season, and because there's very little to pick at the moment, they're looking at the lad who scored 40 goals, and look, he'll be absolutely fine. I have no worries about Mo Salah.
The other thing to pick out as well, which is great, is that yet again it appears we have got a great goalkeeper, and what a contrast that is to recent years, really. And you know, obviously the save from Alisson where he comes out to Willian, and then there's the one with Hazard as well. In general, he just exudes this confidence, doesn't he? And you just, it's just not a thing. It's like someone's flicked the switch. I mean, you know, he used to sense it at Anfield. You know, any time the ball was coming near the goal, or the opposition had a corner or a free kick, and everyone was like tensing up, and you could feel it, and surely the players could feel it too. Whereas now it just feels the complete opposite. You've got this mad fella running around in a pink kit saving everything.
It's glorious, that pink kit. Like, it's absolutely glorious. That confidence, you can see that just, it sort of emanates throughout the rest of the team. Like, we've seen, you know, defensively we've looked really good this season, but even it's lovely to have a goalkeeper that you can rely on to sort of, you know, dig you out of holes, really, because it's not been the case for too often now, whereby you know, our goalkeeper's saving us. You know, like if the one where Hazard, it's Hazard straight through, yeah, and it's an unbelievable save. Now, if he doesn't make that save, then Daniel Sturridge doesn't get to score the equaliser at the end. And yeah, like, it's lovely that we don't have to just rely on the front three to score 4 or 5 goals and then maybe concede 2 and be a little bit nervy. It's now we've got a goalkeeper who can you know, dig us out of holes in the same way that we've seen De Gea do it for United over a number of years. That's the one thing I always thought was, like, I'm sure we've said it quite often, is that you're looking at someone like De Gea and going, well, like, why is he saving those? No, our goalkeeper doesn't save those. Why? Yeah. You know, United are so lucky, but they're not lucky. They just had a really, really good goalkeeper, and now we've got that too.
Yeah. I mean, it's been one of the conversations I've had with my mates where it was like, you know, this is going back a bit, but you were saying, well, when's the last time, you know, the goalkeepers really dug us out? When's the last time there's a game where you go, he's made a string of saves and that's contributed towards the win? And we were all struggling to think of one, if you like. But yeah, it's massive for Liverpool now that they've got a great goalkeeper. Massive that, as you say, we're not just relying on the front three to pick up points, we can rely on the defence too. And it's a bit of a different job as well, I always think, to be the Liverpool goalkeeper, you know, be the keeper in the top side, because you look at someone like, I don't know, like, I've seen Joe Hart getting some praise the other week and he's making save after save for Burnley, but you're going to, because it's Burnley. Yeah. Whereas when it's Liverpool, it's more about sort of staying switched on, and you might not see the ball for ages because, you know, Liverpool have got possession or are on the ball or attacking, and then all of a sudden you have to be switched on. And I think we saw that at the weekend, that he is switched on. He's so quickly off his line, you know, and he saved two goals there, basically, two big chances, because I mentioned before Liverpool had 3 big chances, so did Chelsea. So
what I love about it as well is the fact that he made that mistake against Leicester, and he's not hidden. He's not. No. You haven't seen him sort of shrivel into his shell, and he just doesn't seem fazed by it. It's like, yeah, I made a mistake. Yeah, I'm going to learn from it. And he did. There was a decent interview with Paul Joyce in the Times just before the Chelsea game, and he spoke about that. He said, look, maybe I'll take a few risks. It's about learning all the time and learning from my own mistakes, and it's just really refreshing to hear a Liverpool keeper talk like that, with that, just exuding that confidence, because, like I say, we've seen too many goalkeepers sort of at Liverpool wilt under the pressure, and as recently as last season, we can see what it can do to a keeper. It can almost ruin them.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got this keeper now just knows he's probably one of the best goalkeepers in the world.
Yeah, I think so. And there's a piece in the Echo today from James Pearce talking about the goalkeeper situation as well, just reiterating that Klopp wanted Alisson and no one else, basically, and that we were obviously linked with other keepers, Kasper Schmeichel, various other names over the summer, when it looked like we wouldn't get Alisson because Roma were asking for so much money for him, and it appears that Klopp stuck to his guns and said, I want the game changer goalkeeper, I want the one that I know will come in and will be top class, and that's what we've got.
It's a theme, isn't it?
That's
it's a theme throughout strategy. Same like we've seen it with Van Dijk, with Keita, and I remember reading, I can't remember which piece it was, but there was a really interesting piece where basically said at the beginning of negotiations when Liverpool went to Roma, the first price that they were quoting was like 80 million, and Liverpool went nah, and then they went back and they went 60 million, and they went nah, and they basically just biding their time and being patient about it, because they knew eventually they'd be able to get their man, and they've done it, and just it's a massive yes on Liverpool's transfer strategy. I think yet another example of that.
Absolutely. The Anfield app this week then, loads and loads of stuff will be out there. Obviously it's a busy week because not only have we got the Chelsea game to talk about, to review, to do the free show on and that sort of stuff. We'll start to build up obviously towards Napoli, all the usual post-game content around that as well, and then the big one at the weekend as well against Manchester City, and how huge would it be for Liverpool if we could win that one. So right now downstairs in the Anfield app studio here at Avenue HQ in Liverpool, the boys are recording an Anfield app free show that will be out later today, so give that a listen. The review will be getting recorded as well, and that'll be out there, and then as I say, build up to Napoli. There'll also be a second look video show, which if you haven't seen that yet, that's on YouTube, and it is what it says on the tin. We take a second look at the match, pick out some talking points, look at some stats and that kind of thing. Also as well, if you haven't watched it yet, we are doing these post-match pint shows, and it's fair to say that Saturday's one was pretty lively from the head of steam on Hanover Street in Liverpool. It was basically going off in the background as we were trying to record the show, so makes for a lively watch. So if you haven't watched that one already, give that a watch and
definitely not getting that in the mainstream media.
No, that doesn't happen on Match of the Day, does it?
The height of professionalism, like you three trying to navigate this post-match pint video and actually talk about the game in a way that people will like, and there's people brawling behind you.
Apparently what it was all about was, like you get them like wooden spoons in some places when you've like ordered a scran.
I have no idea where this is going, but
someone threw the wooden spoon at someone else, someone threw it back again, and then these two lads came together, and that's what it was all about. And there was a bit of a scene in it as well where like the bouncer sort of walking one lad away, and at that point he starts doing the, let me at him, get off me, you know what I mean? So yeah, hilarious stuff.
You should have pointed the camera the other way.
The pub was good. I know, yeah. The pub was good, to be fair, by the way, as well. I've never been in there before, and that amusement aside, good ale, good laugh, good place to watch the match, so we may well do it again. But yeah, that has been Talking Reds for today. There'll be loads more of this week. Every weekday there's Talking Reds, and as I say, loads of stuff on the YouTube channel, loads of podcasts from us as well, both free and subscription ones. Check out the website as well, because there's always loads of writing on there too, that goes down well. Check out Ben Jono's ratings, for example, if you never have done before, because it's fair to say they're unique and they're always a talking point.
Maybe don't take them too seriously though. If you're in it for the ratings, maybe yeah.
Someone sent us an email, saying about if you add up all the numbers that Jono had done over the weekend, he's only given Liverpool X, and someone else has given them Y and all that. it's not that important. He's having a bit of a laugh. You have a laugh with it as well, mate, do you know what I mean?
Didn't he say he was going to give Jordan Henderson an 8 every week, no matter how he played, just to piss off people? Maybe that's like a microcosm of like what you could expect.
Yeah, and that's not because there's an agenda, and that's not because of the colour of his skin or anything else you want to level at us. And we've had all these things level at us by Twitter cranks. We're just having a bit of a laugh with it, to be honest, lads. Do you know what I mean? There's no agenda. Anyway, that has been Talking Reds. Love yous. From me and Simba.